Here's a complete 1700-word YouTube story in a reusable writing block. Writing. The CEO tried to buy his garage for pennies, then learned the land hid a racing legends collection. The expensive black helicopter circled above the tiny roadside garage as if a storm was about to land. Everyone in the small town thought old Callum Mercer was finally about to lose everything he had spent 40 years protecting. But nobody knew a secret slept beneath the cracked concrete floor, a secret so extraordinary that within a single day it would humble one of the richest CEOs in the country and rewrite history forever. Before we begin, if you believe kindness, honesty, and second chances can change lives, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Echoes the Stories. Your support helps these heartfelt stories reach people who need a reminder that goodness still exists in the world. The morning air was fresh and clear. Sunlight spread gently across the quiet countryside, illuminating old oak trees and empty roads. 70-year-old Callum Mercer stood outside his modest garage wiping his hands with a faded blue cloth. His gray hair was neatly combed back, and his weathered face carried the marks of a lifetime of hard work. The sign above his shop had begun to fade, but every letter still stood proudly. Mercer Auto Repair. It was not just a business. It was his entire life. His father had built the garage in 1958, and Callum had inherited both the property and the responsibility that came with it. For decades he repaired old trucks, family sedans, and motorcycles for people who could barely afford repairs. He never overcharged anyone. In a world that was changing rapidly, his garage remained a place where trust still mattered. But now enormous luxury developments were swallowing every piece of land around town. The leader behind those projects was Rowan Vale, a 48-year-old billionaire CEO known for transforming small communities into expensive corporate districts. He was admired by investors but feared by ordinary people. That day, Rowan arrived wearing a dark tailored suit and polished shoes that never seemed to touch dirt. His silver sports car stopped directly in front of Callum's garage. Several assistants followed behind carrying documents and tablets. Rowan had already purchased every neighboring property. Only Callum's garage remained. The offer was insulting. A tiny amount compared to the land's actual value. Callum stared at the papers quietly before placing them back into Rowan's hands. He refused. Rowan smiled, but there was no warmth behind it. He believed every person had a price. He informed Callum that the town would eventually change with or without him and that his old garage would soon become useless. Callum remained calm. He simply returned to repairing a customer's pickup truck. Days passed. Then the pressure intensified. Road access was temporarily blocked. Construction noise surrounded the property. Potential customers began avoiding the area. Even some friends advised Callum to surrender. But Callum stayed. Every evening he unlocked an old metal door hidden inside his office and walked downstairs into a forgotten underground room. The room contained shelves covered with dusty photographs, race helmets, and notebooks. On one wall hung a portrait of a smiling man named Victor Harlan. Victor Harlan was once the country's greatest racing legend. Decades earlier, he vanished from public life after a mysterious accident. People assumed his priceless collection of custom-built race cars had been sold or destroyed forever. But that was not true. Callum had protected them all these years. 40 years earlier, Victor had become Callum's closest friend. They met when Victor's car broke down during a local race event. Their friendship grew quickly. Victor hated fame. He trusted very few people. Before his death, he made Callum promise something extraordinary. Protect the collection until someone truly understood its value. Not its financial value. Its historical value. Victor wanted future generations to remember the spirit of racing itself. Callum honored that promise every day. Beneath the garage, hidden under reinforced doors, rested 7 handcrafted race cars unlike anything the world had seen. Each one represented years of innovation and passion. Each one was worth millions. But Callum never revealed their existence. Meanwhile, Rowan grew impatient. He ordered his team to begin legal procedures to force another negotiation. The entire town watched nervously. One afternoon, Rowan returned with surveyors. They began inspecting the property boundaries. As workers measured the land, one device suddenly detected unusual hollow spaces underground. At first Rowan thought it was an abandoned storage basement. Curiosity replaced arrogance. He demanded access. Callum refused immediately. The answer surprised everyone. For the first time, Rowan looked uncertain. That evening he researched old town records. He discovered several references connected to Victor Harlan's final years. Then he noticed Victor had spent considerable time at Mercer Auto Repair. His interest deepened. The next morning Rowan arrived alone. No assistants. No lawyers. No helicopters. Only questions. He asked Callum why Victor trusted him. Callum remained silent for a long moment before answering. Because friendship cannot be purchased. The word struck Rowan unexpectedly. His entire life had revolved around acquisitions and negotiations. Every victory came through money and influence. Yet here stood an elderly mechanic protecting something priceless for decades without asking anything in return. Still, Rowan requested to see whatever was underground. Callum hesitated. Then something changed. Perhaps age had made him tired. Perhaps Victor's time capsule was finally ready to be revealed. Callum nodded. They descended the stairs together. The underground chamber slowly appeared. Rowan froze. 7 magnificent race cars rested beneath soft white lights. Their polished bodies reflected decades of meticulous care. Beside every vehicle stood detailed journals documenting engineering experiments and Victor's handwritten memories. Rowan walked around speechless. He forgot about business. He forgot about money. He saw history breathing before him. Callum explained how every bolt, every engine component, and every design represented Victor's dream of inspiring future mechanics and young racers. Nothing had ever been sold. Nothing had ever been exploited. For 40 years, one man had quietly preserved an entire legacy. Rowan sat down on a wooden stool. For the first time in many years, he felt ashamed. He remembered his own late father, a humble bus driver who loved classic automobiles. As a child, Rowan used to spend weekends helping him wash engines. Success had slowly erased those memories. Greed had replaced purpose. He realized he was about to destroy something sacred. The following week shocked the entire country. Instead of demolishing Mercer Auto Repair, Rowan cancelled his development project. He held a public conference under bright daytime skies. Thousands attended. Reporters gathered from every major network. Standing beside Callum, Rowan announced a complete change of plans. The garage and surrounding land would become a public museum and educational center dedicated to Victor Harlan's legacy. Young mechanics could learn there for free. Students could study engineering. Families could experience racing history together. Callum would remain director for as long as he wished. The crowd erupted into applause. Many people cried. For years, they had watched powerful corporations erase local history. Finally, someone had chosen preservation over profit. Over the next year, volunteers transformed the property while preserving every original detail. Children filled the classrooms every morning. Old mechanics shared their knowledge. Retired racers donated memorabilia. The town flourished in ways nobody expected. Small businesses reopened. Tourism increased. Most importantly, hope returned. Callum often sat on a bench beneath a large tree watching children smile as they admired Victor's collection. His promise had been fulfilled. One peaceful afternoon, Rowan joined him. Neither man said much. Words were unnecessary. They simply watched life continue. Two men from entirely different worlds had discovered something money could never buy. Legacy. Human connection. Purpose. Years later, visitors entering the museum would read a simple plaque. It did not mention wealth. It did not mention billion-dollar companies. It only carried a message. The greatest treasures are never hidden in vaults. They are protected in the hearts of people who choose loyalty over profit. And every time Callum read those words, he smiled quietly. Because he knew Victor would have smiled too. Before this story ends, if it touched your heart, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Echoes the Stories. Your support helps keep stories of compassion and humanity alive for millions of viewers around the world. Special request: comment below with the words, "Kindness is priceless," if you believe preserving memories and helping others matters more than money. As the sun shined brightly over the restored garage, Callum locked the doors one final time for the evening and looked across the joyful faces leaving the museum. His old garage had never become a skyscraper. It had become something far greater. A home for dreams, history, and second chances. And somewhere beyond sight, perhaps a racing legend was smiling, knowing that one faithful promise had changed countless lives forever.